Alright, what is up everybody? Finally back with another Overwatch 2 tier list video. It feels like it's been forever since I made the last one at the start of Season 3, but we're back with Season 4. We got a brand new support being added to the game. He's not ranked yet, but he's supposed to be actually added to ranked. That we actually got confirmed earlier today. He's supposed to be added to ranked about 2 to 3 weeks from now. Until they're going to make some more minor balance changes and some bug fixes, and then he's going to be added to ranked. So, got that. We got also a few other slight balance changes. I'm going to be honest with you guys, a lot of the balance changes they actually didn't really even do anything for the game. The game feels really pretty much the same as Season 3. It really does. There's not really much that's different apart from a new hero being added. And a few different little things here and there, but like nothing like super major being touched. We'll talk about it. If you guys like these videos, leave a like, subscribe, share the video. I also do stream over here and on Twitch, so if you guys want to sub to the channel to stay up to date when I'm live over here on YouTube, and follow me on Twitch, there'll be a link in the description for that as well, along with my Twitter and everything else. So if you guys want to go follow me over there, feel free to as well. But top right into this, I'll throw the tiers on screen for you guys right now. We got S+ tier. This is the stuff that is like the best of the best in the game that you're going to be wanting to pick and play almost every single match to pretty much guarantee you that you have the highest chance to win. And then the stuff that kind of probably needs to be nerfed into the ground, mostly. That type of stuff. A+ is your above average, like the other stuff that wouldn't say is really like broken tier, but still incredibly good. A is your stuff that's average, mainly balanced stuff. And that type of thing. B is kind of below average. C is situational. Maybe they're only good in like one or two specific situations or maps or with team comps, whatever. And then I actually have a needs a rework tier because there are actually a specific amount of heroes that I actually think need entire reworks. So we'll be talking about those as well. But keep in mind, this is mainly like console list too. I don't play on PC. I'm a Switch player. So and it's like for your middle, like lower to middle tier ranks. All the way from like high tier bronze, low tier silver, all the way up to like mid plat, around there, like your average tiers where the majority of the people and players, at least console players, are. So keep that in mind as well before I do get into this, because I know there's always somebody that does not agree with me on something because they're either a PC player or there's some sweaty player that plays 24/7. So keep that in mind. That being said, let's hop right into this. Got a brand new support now. He's actually not in ranked yet. He won't be in ranked for another 2 or 3 weeks, like I said. But Life Weaver. I think Life Weaver is absolutely really good. I think Life Weaver, once he gets put into ranked, he's supposed to be having some control changes as well for like his damage and healing things. So like button or like control changes or something, whatever they're doing. And they're supposed to be doing some bug fixes here with him in the next week or two. But once he does get put into ranked, I think he's probably going to be one of the best supports in ranked, especially once people get good with him. I've seen a few actually really, really solid Life Weavers in my casual like pub games that are actually really good, and he's only been out for like 2 or 3 days. At least I'm recording this about 3 days. So I don't know, he's one of those supports that like his damage is his healing is really bad, if we're being honest. His healing is pretty bad, but like out of all the supports in the entire game, I think he brings like some of the most utility out of any support in the entire game, with like his shield grasp and like his ult and being able to like dash and that type of thing, especially with like his flower, is absolutely crazy. There's also another problem right now too, that there's a lot of people like trying to troll with his shield grasp. I don't know, I had like multiple matches already where I was playing tank and I had a Life Weaver on my team, and they intentionally like boost themselves on the edge of the map, and they try to fall off the map and pull like a tank or somebody that's standing close to them off the map the entire game. I think they need to fix that as well. I don't know how they would fix people that just troll with that ability, because it is an ability that has like a 20-second cooldown. But like I think that's going to be a huge problem going forward, especially for ranked. People actually trolling with like his shield grabs and pulling people off the map and that type of thing. That could be an issue. But apart from that, if you actually use it correctly, it is an incredibly good ability. Same with his ult. the Tree of Life is great. Like, it's probably one of the best support ults in the entire game, apart from like a Kiriko ult and maybe a few others, but you could argue it's probably the best support in the game. He has a really solid dash. His flower's crazy, getting your team to high ground, giving you extra jump height. Like, the utility he brings to a team is absolutely crazy. It really is. I do think he's S+ tier, and I think he is probably going to end up getting nerfed. But once people start learning how to play him, and the game the season goes longer than like 2 weeks, because now we're only in the season for like a few days so far. But once people get better at playing him, and he actually gets put into ranked, I do think he's going to be getting nerfed, similar to Kiriko when she got put into ranked and that type of thing. So incredibly good. Not really that good as like a DPS for damage or healing, but like this is sheer utility he brings is absolutely crazy, and like some of the best in the entire game. Really is. Apart from the people that use him to troll. If you're somebody that is playing him and just trolling your team and trying to pull people off the map, or like make people upset when they're trying to ult and go in and get kills, and then you pull them back when they could have had like an entire team wipe, that type of thing, legit uninstall the game because you're a fucking scumbag and nobody wants you on their team. That's all I have to say about that, because I absolutely hate the people that are using him to troll in your random games. And if that becomes a thing in ranked, man, am I going to be really mad, because the rank's already really bad. Keep in mind as well, like, this list, I should have said this earlier too, but like, this list is mainly solo queue as well. Like, mainly like your solo queue. You can use it for duos or like trios or stacking in ranked as well, but like, this is mainly for your solo queue list. Up next, we got Kiriko. I think Kiriko's actually fallen off. I do. I think she used to be like one of the best supports in the entire game. Now I think she's kind of just average. Her healing's decent. Her damage can be good if you know how to land headshots and you're constantly getting picks. But if you're not, like, you're just there, you're kind of just an ult bot. And that's the main problem with her. She's only really good for her ult still. Especially in like your lower to mid tiers of play and solo queuing mainly. That's kind of what you're going to be doing with her, unless you're like a cracked Kiriko player. Kind of fallen off a little bit. I wouldn't say she's garbage, but I think she is just average now. She's kind of fallen off over the last couple seasons. Bastion's really good. Bastion just fucking melts. I don't know what they did to Bastion, especially with Mercy being really good. A Bastion-Mercy combo is pretty much unkillable, and they can pretty much just shred anything that doesn't have a shield or has no mobility to get away from it. Really, really, really good, especially on console. Really good. If you pair that with a certain support like a Mercy or something that just pocket you the entire game, or even if you know how to position yourself properly and play around your cooldowns, you can just shred teams and just do so much. Especially in your like lower to mid tier games. Which is really weird to say too, because Bastion went from being like one of the worst DPS in the entire game to getting some really small buffs that made him actually really good. I think if some other stuff that's actually way better gets nerfed or changed, I think Bastion might be one of the best DPS in the game in the future going forward. Which is really weird to say, but it's a possibility. McCree's A+ tier. Really solid. Everything you want out of a DPS. Still really solid ult. Can be hit or miss depending on how many kills you can actually get, or even if you do get a kill with High Noon, but still really good. He's going to be getting his magnetic grenade reworked as well. I don't know why. I used to shit on the magnetic grenade, but like the more I play McCree, especially for Overwatch 2 compared to Overwatch 1, with your stun and fan the hammer combo, I think the magnetic grenade is more consistent and it's actually funner to use than having the stun. Which is really weird because I hated the magnetic grenade on Overwatch release. I really did, but playing McCree and actually getting used to him and playing against him and playing him myself over the last 4 seasons, I do think magnetic grenade was better than fan the hammer and with the stun. And I don't know why they're reworking it. I really do not want them to rework it because I think it's actually good for him. I think he needs to keep the magnetic grenade. D.Va is your definition of like a B tier tank right now. She just doesn't really do much. Either you're able to dive stuff, and if you can't dive anything, you're kind of just like a walking hitbox that just everybody charges their ult off of, similar to like a Roadhog, but just not as bad. If you can land a good ult too, like if you throw out a D.Va bomb and constantly get kills too, like that's pretty good value, but apart from that, she doesn't really do anything. You can absorb cooldowns too, like if you're good with the amp matrix and that type of thing, but apart from that, she just doesn't really do anything. Kind of just B tier mid. Genji's A+, especially on console. If you know how to play Genji at least half properly, like you can just farm enemy teams, especially their backline in your lower mid-tier games. Just mainly because they don't know how to actually defend against you. It's really difficult to lock you down. I'm going to put Hanzo in needs rework tier. You know, this is the one thing I'm going to say for this entire tier list. There are 2 heroes that I'm going to for sure put into the needs rework list, in the needs rework tier, because they went on their word and they said they do not want one-shots in the game anymore after they nerfed Roadhog and they took away his ability to one-shot. There are still 2 characters in the game that can still one-shot people, being Hanzo and Widow. They don't want one-shots in the game anymore. Why does Hanzo and why do Widowmaker, I'll put Widow in needs rework as well, because I may as well, I'm talking about her. Why do Hanzo and Widowmaker still have the ability to one-shot, but you took away the ability for Roadhog to one-shot, when that was his entire identity as a tank for I don't know how long now, ever since he's been put into the game in Overwatch 1. And they got rid of it for last season. I think Hanzo needs to be entirely reworked. I really do. I think he's due for a rework. I don't know what you'd really do to rework him. If you'd rework him entirely, I might just keep his ult if that were me. I think his ult's fine, but I would just rework the rest of his entire kit and make it so you can't one-shot. Maybe make it so his bow doesn't one-shot anymore, but you have a faster draw time. Maybe they could do that as well. I don't know. Same with Widow, like, I don't know what they would do with Widow so she doesn't have a one-shot, but she's still classified as a sniper. I really don't. I know there's going to be somebody in the comments, oh, you want the one sniper in the game, blah, 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 to be reworked so they don't one-shot with a blah, 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 when snipers are supposed to be doing hefty amounts of damage from long range, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm just going based off what the devs said. They don't want one-shots in their game. They took the one-shot away from Roadhog and they reworked him for no reason, so that now they're obligated based off of their word and what they said to need to rework Hanzo and Widowmaker because they are still the only other 2 heroes in the game that can one-shot. I'm just going based off of what the devs said. That's what they said for Season 3. They don't want one-shots in their game. And if they're going to rework Hog and completely ruin Hog, then they got to get rid of all the other one-shots. I don't know what they would do with Widow. Maybe they can make it so our sniper has a faster charge time, but it no longer one-shots people. But make it easier so it's an easier 2-shot with a faster charge time or something for a body shot or that type of thing. I don't know what they really do. Give her a different ult. I don't know, rework her main weapon and then give her a different ult to where she's only able to do that during her ult. I don't know. Junkrat's really good. A+ tier. Nothing with him's really changed at all. Still incredibly good. Lucio A tier. Nothing with him's changed since Season 3 at all. Still kind of the same. Mei is an alt bot. The problem with Mei, I'm going to actually put Mei in, like, I want to say Mei is better, but like everybody's just using her as an alt bot right now. I'm going to put her at A tier. And not because I think she's actually average, but just because people play her. She's being played a lot more. And at least I don't think she is, but like just for other players, I do think she's average for like everybody else. I just wish they would give Mei back her freeze on her primary fire because she's just poorly balanced right now. The only reason people play her is just to spam ult. She's pretty much a alt bot, and that's pretty much what she is right now. She's a walking alt bot that kind of just zones off an area and kind of tries to lock people down. And then when she gets low health, she goes into Ice Cube and then tries to run away. That's pretty much all she does. Really, really boring play style. And if you're a Mei player, please uninstall because you're really annoying to play against. Her ult charge is way too fast as well. I don't know why they ever changed and gave her like the ult buff last season, because all it did is pretty much ruin the character more and make it so the only reason people play her is just for her ult. Not because she's fun to play, but just because her ult is just really, really busted. Probably one of the best like DPS like team fight ults in the game. If you can lock like 2 people down and have them frozen, you pretty much win like the entire fight. Even like one person, even like a tank. It's crazy. I would say she needs to be reworked too, but like I don't think she needs like a complete rework as like the Hanzo and Widow do. I think she just needs her freeze back on her primary fire, and that's the only thing she needs, and she needs her alt charge rate like revert to where it was before they buffed it for some reason. Mercy's S+ tier. The most easiest to play, most brain dead, high value support in the entire game. If you do not know what to play and you do not know how to play a support, you click Mercy, you play her, and you just alternate between holding down like 2 buttons the entire game and then flying around every couple seconds. That's all you do. Really brain dead, really straightforward, huge amounts of value, and it doesn't really take much effort or skill to play. There you go. Especially for your lower to mid-tier ranked players on console. Really brain dead. Actually needs to be nerfed too. Her healing and her survivability is out of this world. It really is. She needs to be nerfed. That's why I'm putting her S+ tier. Pharah, I'm going to put B tier. Mainly the more dependent on the maps and what team you're going against, but I'm like one of my most played DPS is Pharah, and if you know what you're doing, you can just completely carry the game most of the time. Even versus some of your checks, if they aren't good players, like if there's a McCree or an Ashe or a Soldier on the enemy team, and they aren't good players, you can still play into it sometimes. Reaper S+ tier. I don't know how we keep going from season to season to season with Reaper getting no changes and no nerfs. By far, probably one of the best, most brain-dead DPS in the entire game. He reminds me of Lex from Paladins, to where all you need to really do is you just kind of dive onto people and you just run at them. That's kind of what he does. He doesn't have as much damage as Lex does, but like he's pretty much kind of the same concept with a different type of ult too. Death Blossom, if you can at least get like 1 or 2 kills every time you ult as well, like you pretty much win every team fight. It's crazy. Unkillable with how much lifesteal you do. You do so much damage to where there's some tanks in the game that can't even 1v1 you anymore, like Hog and a few others that really struggle to 1v1 you because you're getting back so much health, especially if you're getting pocketed as well. There should not be any DPS in the entire game that has the ability to pretty much 1v1 a tank, and that one of the only DPS can actually do that is Reaper right now. Please nerf him. I don't know if the devs or anybody from Blizzard watches my videos, but if they do, if they're a part of the balance team, please nerf Reaper for the last fucking time. I'm sick of playing against him. He is one of the most unfun characters to play against in the entire game, and one of the most brain-dead, skill-less characters ever. Please get him the fuck out of the game and nerf him into the ground. Ryan's A+ tier. I wouldn't say he's broken tier, I really don't, but he's better than he was in like Season 3 because they buffed him, so. He's being played a lot more, especially in your lower to mid-tier games. He's kind of just, pretty much all you really need to do is just either hold up your shields, try to pin people, or you just run at the enemy team and start swinging. Especially in your lower to mid-tier games, people don't really know how to react. You can kind of just get way too much value. I don't think he's really like S tier, broken tier though. Hog is garbage, C tier, and this is coming from somebody that the most played character in the entire game, even like towards the end of Overwatch 1, has been Roadhog. The guy is dead. Worst, like one of the worst tanks in the game. I don't know if he's actually the worst tank in the game, but like he's by far like top 2 like worst tanks in the entire game. Even if you land the majority of your hooks, you just don't really do anything. The problem with Hog is he's a tank that walks around and just charges the enemy team's ult. And he's just a walking hitbox that just does nothing. He gets shut down by all the CC, he takes all the damage, everybody charges ult and throws their abilities at him. If you can't 1v1 and try to kill somebody with a hook and try to like get a pick that way, and you don't do that, you're pretty much dead every single time. It's dove really easy now. There's a lot of shit in the game, especially DPS and other tanks that just shit all over him. That he can't do shit back to you, like Orisa, Ramattra, Ryan. There's a few other tanks that he really struggles into now because he just doesn't do nearly enough damage, and he can't one-shot anymore. It's a real problem. It sucks. I wish Hog was way better, but they killed the guy. They cut his balls off, y'all. It's real sad. They got clowns balancing the game. Soldier's A+ because on console he's just brain dead. Really easy to play, and then you got an auto aim ult that just all you need to do is just look at people and you pretty much kill them. So just for that alone, he's A+ tier. Brain dead. Symmetra's C tier, to map and team dependent. He is a lot better in your lower to mid tiers, though. Once you start getting into your higher tiers of play, she kind of falls off. Torb, A tier, nothing crazy. Really survivable, and the turret can be really annoying, but apart from that, there's a lot better DPS picks I would pick over him. Tracer comes down to the player. I'm going to put her at B tier because she does take a lot of skill to play, but if you're actually good with her, and you actually know how to play Tracer, you can carry your lower to mid tier games. Winston's really bad. I don't see Winston at all being picked in ranked, let alone even pubs at all. I think he has like one of the lowest pick rates in the entire game for the tanks. I really do. I never see him played. I think the reason why nobody plays him is just because he's really bad. You can try to dive on stuff, but there's so much healing in the game, and there's so much CC and that type of thing where you try to dive on somebody and just get fully healed, and you just can't really do his job, especially in your lower to mid tier games. You're just better off playing a lot of the other stuff that's just way easier to play and do pretty much the same thing. Zarya's still really, really good. I'm going to put her at A tier, though. Not being played as much as some of the other tanks because there are some better tanks in the game right now, but she still is kind of a sleeper pick. Still really good and really branded to play if you in your lower to mid tier games, especially people that don't know that they're not supposed to fire at your shield. So let's keep charging your passive, give you a bunch of damage and a bunch of ult freely. Zenyatta A tier. His healing sucks apart from an ult. His survivability is really bad, but the damage orb is the main thing that people use him for, and that's why I gotta put him A tier. Ana, I'm gonna put it A plus tier. Still really, really good. Nothing worth has changed since last season. Sombra, situational. They tried to buff her, they nerfed her a little bit, and they tried to give her some quality of life buffs recently. Didn't really do anything. She can be annoying, but it just comes down if your team actually plays with you and follows up on your hacks and your EMPs, and usually when you're solo queuing, you got a bunch of like brainless losers on your team that don't even know how to play and actually push a couple buttons on a controller, let alone actually follow up with you on your hacks and your EMPs. So good luck doing that in your random solo queue ranked games. Orisa, S plus tier. One of the best tanks in the entire game right now. Legit, if you're getting pocketed by at least one support, you're pretty much unkillable. Crazy. She is absolutely crazy. Doom, I'm going to put A tier, kind of just average right now. Nothing with him's changed, really. Moira got some buffs. I'm going to put her at A plus tier because I think she actually is really solid right now. Pretty easy to play, and she actually does a really solid amount of damage and solid amount of heals. Really good right now. Brig got buffed. I still don't think she's crazy. People were going to say Brig was going to be absolutely like giga nerfed or like giga buffed and like just broken with a new ult rework, and her ult rework isn't even that good. Her shield is way bigger, but like at the same time it just makes her that much more of a target. Everybody sees a big shield and then they just all turn on you and you get deleted, so I don't really understand. Maybe in your higher tiers of the game she can be really good. It's good to have the stun back with her ult, but having the big shield, even with the more health on the shield and stuff, it just makes you a bigger target and everybody just turns on you, it seems. At least I'm speaking from what I've been seeing being played versus her and playing her. That's what I've been experiencing, so I don't know. Maybe in your higher tiers of play where you can coordinate with her ult better, she's busted and broken, but like in your lower to mid tier games, especially solo queuing, she's average at best. Ball is A tier. Still really, really good. It just comes down to if you know how to play him. If you at least somewhat know how to play him, you can still do really well. Ashe, A tier. Nothing with her's changed at all. Kind of the same since last patch. Baptiste, still really good, A plus tier, but nothing with him's really changed that much. Sigma's S plus tier. Probably the other like best top tier tank in the game right now. I think if you want tanks right now, the best ones in the game are Orisa and Sigma, especially if you're like solo queuing your lower to mid tiers on console. Both of them are incredibly good and just really, really good right now, especially in like most team comps and like most maps. As long as you got healers that actually know how to heal you and actually like play the game, that is. If you have no heals the entire game and your team doesn't play with you, then it doesn't matter, but Echo, I don't know, I'm gonna put Echo at a B tier. I just don't see her play it enough. I really don't. I don't see Echo play it, and when I do see her play it, they don't know. Nobody knows how to really play her. People just randomly use their ult, and before they can actually do anything with their ult and transform into somebody, they get killed. I don't know. Maybe in our higher tiers of play, she's better, but like in your lower to mid tier games, especially solo queuing, nobody knows how to play her, and she's kind of just a free kill most times. Sojourn's still really good. Incredibly good. I don't know what they need to do for Sojourn to make her like actually manageable. She's not like busted on release like she used to be, but man, is she annoying to play against. There are some games where you can just kind of just farm entire teams, especially if you know how to headshot with railgun, where you can just farm entire teams just based off of one-shotting them pretty much. Absolutely crazy, especially with her ult. Her ult's really underrated and it's just brain dead broken. Junker Queen, I'm gonna put an A tier. Really solid if you know how to play her and you can land all your, well, I don't know what she calls her dagger or whatever. Or if you can land Gracie and all those type of things, you know when actually probably ult and get value out of your ult and that type of thing. And you know when to be passive and you know when to be aggressive to chase down kills and that type of thing. She can be really good. And she does match up decently into a lot of the better tanks and stuff being played. She has a pretty good matchup into Ryan. She has a decent matchup into Orisa and Sigma. She does match up decently well into some of the other tanks, so. And you got Ramatra, which I think is really good right now. A+ tier. I don't think he's broken tier because there are some downsides to still playing him, but if you know how to play Ramatra, he's still really good. Incredible damage for a tank. The shield's great. He has really consistent damage. His ult is really, really good. Teamfight ult. Just incredibly good for a tank. Like, he has everything you really want. The only thing I think that is kind of bad about him is he kind of moves slow and he can get dove pretty easily if he's not in his fighting stance or whatever it is, or his where he's able to like punch people. When he's just in his normal stance, he can get dove pretty easily sometimes, but I don't know. That's the entire list for y'all. At least if you want to take a positive out of this, I think the one positive I would take from Season 4 is that I don't think there's like a single character in the entire game that I think is like legit unplayable right now, which can be looked as a positive or a negative, I don't know. At least for like your lower to mid tiers of play. Maybe in your higher tiers you could say stuff like Sombra or like even like Symmetra or a few other things are like unplayable and just that bad that you wouldn't play them. You're just pretty much throwing in like your higher tiers, but like your lower to mid tiers, I think everything right now is pretty much playable if you really want to play it and you know how to play it. You can do well. I have Hanzo and Widow down here as well, but they're completely playable. I'd probably put both of them probably in like A tier or like A+ tier. Probably Widow in like A to A+ tier depending on how you play her, and then Hanzo probably like A tier, but I put them down there because they both need to be reworked because they don't want one-shots in the game. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Balance could be way worse. You have a lot of your heroes around, at least for my list. I know this is 100% opinionated, but I think at least for me right now, I think the majority of the heroes in the game are either like A+, A tier. There's some that are, wouldn't say are bad, either more skill dependent, but I don't know, there's a few characters in the game that either need reworks or they need some pretty serious buffs. Like Hog, for example. But could be way worse. The balance with the game's been way worse recently. It really has. But it's probably the best it's been in a while. But that's not really saying much because they release balance patches like every couple weeks. And then they go and turn the game upside down and they screw up a bunch of other stuff. And then I'll make this list and then probably like 2 or 3 weeks from now they'll put out a balance patch. And then they'll make like some random hero busted or something again. Well, which is what they usually like to do. They did the same thing with Mercy a couple, like 4 or 5 weeks ago. During the mid-season 3, so I don't know. We'll see which the next hero is that's going to be randomly giga buffed and then made broken randomly for like a mid-season balance patch. That'll be the next thing, but at least for right now, that's the list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like I said, 100% opinionated. If you guys like these videos, leave a like, subscribe, share the video. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for stopping by, and thanks for watching.